Hello and welcome to our channel. Today, we're venturing into the vibrant capital of Bulgaria, Sofia. From ancient history to modern charm, this city has something for everyone. Join us as we uncover the top 10 things to do in Sofia and immerse ourselves in its rich culture, stunning architecture, and mouthwatering cuisine. Number 10. Borisova Gradina. Sofia's most famous park was landscaped in the 1880s right after the Bulgarian revival, making it the oldest one in the city. It was developed over the next 50 years by three different designers: the Swiss Daniel Neff, the Alsatian Joseph Fry, and then the Bulgarian George Rotunda when the park's Soviet monuments were installed. But what's impressive is that all the landscapers worked within the original plan, and the upshot is a pleasing sense of coherence for such a big project. It all makes for a refreshing afternoon amble, and if you're here on a summer evening there are free concerts to catch. Number 9. Ivan Vizov National Theatre. The Viennese architects Helmer and Fellner, responsible for a catalogue of extravagant buildings across Central Europe, built this theatre in 1909. True to form, the Ivan Vizov National Theatre is a grand neoclassical structure that remains the last word in Bulgarian culture to this day. The building with its towering portico is an iconic sight for Bulgaria, appearing on banknotes, and is most famous for its drama productions. Chief director here is Alexander Nevsky, responsible for acclaimed Bulgarian and Russian language adaptations of Don Quixote and Shakespeare plays in here and in Russia. Number 8. National Historical Museum. This museum's home is also a piece of Bulgarian history in its own right. The National Historical Museum is housed in the former dictator Todor Zhivkov's residence. It's a hulking slab of Stalinist architecture fronted by a massive open yard. The collection at the museum is gigantic. The 65,000 items on display is just 1/10 of what is held behind the scenes in its archives. The variety of items here is also mind-boggling, going from 20th century space research equipment to treasures belonging to the Odrysians who held sway in Bulgaria until they were conquered by the Romans in the 1st century. Number 7. National Institute of Archaeology. Ferdinand I was on hand when this museum was inaugurated back in 1905 as a way of bring all of the important archaeological finds scattered around Sofia and Bulgaria under one roof. And the roof they chose was that of the city's former Grand Mosque, decommissioned following the Bulgarian revival. The main sections here are prehistory, main hall containing items from classical civilizations, medieval section, and treasury. The last on that list has the Valchitran and Lukavit treasures, two breathtaking hoards of Thracian gold. Discovered in 1953, the Lukavit treasure dates to the time of Alexander the Great's invasion of Thrace in 400 BC. Number 6. Vitosha Mountain. Climbing to more than 2,200 meters behind Sofia's southwestern suburbs is Vitosha, a monumental peak in a nature park, promising more adventure than you could ever cram into one trip. The easiest way to access Vitosha is via Aleko, the mountain ski resort, which is where the Simeonovo gondola lift will drop you off. From there, the walk to Vitosha's Black Peak is surprisingly light when weather's good in spring or autumn, as the peak is part of a large plateau that seems to go on forever thanks to its shallow gradient. Of course, you don't need to go that far for an incredible, vertiginous view of Sofia. Number 5. Boyana Church. On the lower slopes of Vitosha Mountain, which we'll come to next, is this UNESCO heritage site. The location of this medieval church is almost dreamlike, in a grove of tall softwood trees. In a quiet suburb of the city, Boyana Church was built in 3 stages from the 1000s to the 1800s, but the most important additions were made during the Second Bulgarian Empire in the 1200s. This is when the fabulous interior frescoes were painted, depicting some 240 historical and biblical figures in a realistic style 200 years before Renaissance artists were doing the same. The paintings, by an unknown artist, include contemporary portraits of 2 Bulgarian rulers, Tsar Constantine Asen and Tsar Kaloyan, next to their wives. Number 4. St. Sophia Church. It was this church that gave the city of Sofia its name in the 1300s during the Second Bulgarian Empire. This unassuming red brick building goes right back to Byzantine times and was founded in the 500s on top of the ancient city of Serdica's necropolis, as well as an older church from a century before. When you visit, you can see the remnants of this ancient church and the tombs that date back more than 1500 years. For 2 centuries after the Ottoman invasion, this was a mosque, but was abandoned after one earthquake in the 1800s brought the minaret down and another killed the imam's 2 sons. Number 3. Vitosha Boulevard. The fanciest street in the city, Vitosha Boulevard, is where all the posh boutiques and fashion houses are clustered. If you're not an upmarket shopper, then you can just console yourself with those arresting views of Vitosha Mountain, which is capped with a dusting of snow for much of the year and framed by the street's tall buildings. It's a thoroughly pleasant place to spend a couple of hours. The cafes along the pedestrian street have outdoor seating, and in recent years the lampposts, benches and kiosks have been redesigned into an elegant Art Nouveau style, recalling the early years of the Bulgarian revival. Number 2. St. George Rotunda. The heart of ancient Serdica and the oldest building in modern Sofia, this red brick church was built all the way back in 300s. It's a wonder that this building has survived unscathed for such an amount of time, and all around are interesting little details that hit home the great age of the site and civilizations that have passed though. Step inside to view the detailed medieval frescoes that had been painted over by the Ottomans when the church was converted to a mosque in the 1600s. These were only rediscovered and restored in the 1990s. Outside you can see the flagstones of a Roman street and other remnants of ancient Serdica. Number 1. St. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. The scale of this building will blow you away. Inside Street Alexander Nevsky has room for 10,000 people, and it's the second largest cathedral in the Balkan region. As with a great deal of Sofia's grand architecture, the city's cathedral dates to the 1880s. This was directly after the Ottomans were overthrown and the state of Bulgaria was re-established. It was originally dedicated to the Russian soldiers that lost their lives in the course of this liberation. When you're inside, look up at ceiling of the main cupola, which has a mural of the Lord God Sabbath. The crypt here is open to visitors and has a big collection of icons. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to join us on future adventures around the world.